All right. Speaking of we
Yes,
we talk.
we do.
Yes. Here's something I wanted to discuss with you. Now,
Okay.
it may be controversial.
Yes.
It may upset people. And I don't even think I
Uh-oh.
told you what I wanted to talk about, but
No, you didn't.
I put it in sort of a cryptic way.
You did.
And I wrote this on the outline as Legend of Frank. Okay?
Yeah,
Now,
who's
I don't know if
Frank?
you can see where I'm going with this. But, I've been playing the Zelda Wii game,
Yes, which I've
which
completed.
you have completed. And, it strikes me as a good game, not like an awesome game. I mean, if it's not a groundbreaking game, I don't think, by any stretch of the imagination. Yet, if you look at the review scores this game has gotten, it's got I think a 95% review score from game. If you look on Game Rankings, average review score.
Yeah. Yes, which is ridiculously high.
And the only reason it's not higher is because the GameSpot gave it an 8.8, which brought down the score. Because everyone else pretty much gave it even higher, way high, super high. Now, after going back and playing Oblivion to get my extra nerd points and finish the game, and just being sort of amazed all over again, I find it very difficult to go back to Zelda.
Well, I understand what you mean.
And the reason why I sort of call this Legend of Frank
Okay.
is if this game, this particular Zelda game, and maybe some previous Zelda games as well, were not called Legend of Zelda. It was made, let's say it was made by another developer, and, it was called Legend of Frank. It was about a guy named Frank, but the game is exactly the same in every way. Is there any chance in hell this game would be getting 95s from people?
No. And, I mean, the simple reason is, it has... I'm sure there are some people that'll disagree with me on this, but the replayability on it is severely limited.
But that's not even...
There's no reason to play it again.
You forget about that for a
There's no reason to play it
second.
again.
I mean, can you even compare the experience of Oblivion to this Zelda game? Are they even in the same league at all?
No, you don't feel... And it's sad because I think this is what they were trying to go for a lot with Zelda, but you don't really feel like you're a part of the world.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
Like you do, like you would in Oblivion to compare it.
It's just, I don't...
Which I think may even... I mean... Is it a fair comparison is the next question.
Well, look, I mean, here. We just talked about this Famitsu article in the beginning of the show. Is this what's happening with Zelda, too? That it's such a high-profile game and that it's getting these review scores because people just expect it. They know it's going to sell a lot of copies anyway. People are going to buy it anyway. So they just say... Or maybe the reviewers themselves are fanboys, quote-unquote, and they just... I don't know. They need to give it a high score because to me, the fact that this Legend of Zelda game has a higher review score than Oblivion on Game Rankings is ridiculous.
Yeah, a little bit. It's probably my least favorite Zelda game.
There's not that much to do in the game, right? I mean, it's just not like open-ended, sort of like Oblivion, where you can just sort of go around and do whatever you want, and a million different choices to do, and a million different ways to build your character. I mean, the fact that they even score remotely close to each other is a great injustice.
Well, I think the better comparison is to compare it to the Zelda games that came before it, and what made them unique.
It's pretty much the same game, though, right?
The changes are sparse, and some of the changes that they made, I personally think that there's a reason why the game was delayed. I have my conspiracy theory on that.
What's that?
I think that at one point the wolf was much more prevalent in the game, and then they realized the wolf sucked.
Let's just get it out at launch.
And then they scrapped the whole wolf idea.
Right.
So then they had to kind of start over again, but they still had too much wolf done to just throw it all away because it would have been too expensive.
Right.
So that's why it took the extra 2 years to make the game.
Well, I think it worked out well
that's why
because
the wolf
it was
isn't there
a
all the
Wii
time.
launch title. But before, I don't think we need to do all this any further, and I'm curious to what the CAG faithful have to say, CAGcast faithful have to say.
Yeah.
I mentioned this to Shipwreck over Instant Messenger, my sort of theory, and he asked me if I ever played Sphinx on the Xbox. It was also out for PS2, and he said he thought that was just as good as a Zelda game, but it never got any recognition because it wasn't Zelda.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are a lot of games like that. Beyond Good and Evil is always the one that comes to everyone's.
Yeah.
But that got good reviews.
Yep,
but
didn't sell. So I don't know. That's my Legend of Frank rant. And I don't know. I think it's a valid point for discussion. But
I just picture some fat guy in boxer shorts in place of Link.
I think
that would actually be pretty.
I think
funny.
the Zelda name adds at least a full review point, if not more, to the game. Probably maybe.
Oh, it definitely
maybe
does.
2. Anyway,